Yeah.
when you get into uh, a rare blend of talent like Anthony Hill, well, it's almost like unfair. You know what I'm saying? That this guy, the God's gifted ability, he has, we're gonna get into it, obviously. This our time of year, man. You know what I mean? To look at not only, players, that we think the Lions should draft or whatever, but just as a whole. Like this kid right here, he's good enough. Well, I don't think the Lions are gonna get this kid, just only because I think he's a top 5 draft pick, in my opinion, and everybody that's in front of us, as far as like just off the top of my head, like the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Tennessee Titans, the New Orleans Saints, all of those teams ahead of us need a guy like Anthony Hill. The Chief, hell, the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I mean? Put them in it. Um, it's just that this
So
this guy is
interesting though.
something else. Yeah, because I think the Chiefs do go best player available. I mean, and they got a defenses already. They got Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie, and obviously Chris Jones, and they drafted what's the other kid? Shenault,
He
Leo
quiet
Shenault.
15 sacks. He had
Yeah,
15 sacks
yeah,
on the
that's
interior this season. Chris Jones, quiet as kept. So
yeah, and I just think that when you look at blue chip, I always rate them as blue chip players. Is I think it's blue chip players, and I think it is depth players or rotational players in every draft. And I'm gonna tell you, man, between Arville Reese, Bailey from Texas Tech, Sonny Styles from Ohio State as well, C.J. Allen. It's another kid I like, Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU. Kind of rated down. I mean, he's a little undersized, but he's going to be down in the draft process. But what I'm saying is, they ain't touching Anthony Hill, man. In my opinion, this kid is 6'3". 235 pounds. He's just an absolute unfair God-given talent. He's got it all, man. The only thing, if I had to say that this kid needs to work on, maybe shedding blocks, because I think that what I'm saying is, Walden, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like Texas moved him around, and I love a defense that moves players around, and it seemed like they stood him up damn near on every play, like every money down they needed, they moved Anthony Hill around. He was either in coverage, tipping balls, making plays. He didn't really have to shed too many blocks. So what I'm saying is, maybe if you look at the tape on him, if you are opposing offensive line, coach or anything like that, you might say maybe want to put a body on him, maybe, and make him shed a block first, because I didn't see him right really, because we talked about it. You brought it up as soon as we got online today about those other Texas linemen, which we're going to get into later on in the draft process. But those guys made it a lot easier for him, man, because he didn't have to go through a lot of double teams or anything like that. It was amazing how he damn near the best linebacker in the country, and it was almost like teams didn't try to push back at all. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like he did whatever he wanted. It was crazy. I love Anthony Hill, man. I hate that this is the Lions ain't gonna get him, because he's not gonna be there. That's the only thing. I would love to maybe trade up, but right now I don't think we're in a position to kind of trade up and sacrifice picks right now. We got to kind of get who's falling to us, unless he falls to like 10, or I think right now, well, we at 15 or something like that, probably draft position. So if he's like around at 10, which I would be shocked if he's around at number 10, maybe you make a move, man, and get a generational guy like this. But how far are you gonna move it for a linebacker? Now, this is, before I let you take it away, he is this is a deep draft class for linebacker. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be heartbroken not to get him, but I want the talent. Well, that's what I'm just talking about right now for the Lions as a whole. I want the talent, man. I want a guy who's a difference maker. This kid is what he's got, like 11 forced fumbles in 3 years. He's got a couple pick sixes. He's got I don't have the stats in front. I know he's got more than 10 sacks for his whole career in 3 years. he's a guy who's a difference maker, man. You know what I'm saying? And I correct me if I'm wrong with anything I said. The only thing, the hands in the dirt, I didn't see that as much with him. You don't need to because he's so athletic, and I think he can get their point of attack. I got more to say, but I'll let you take it away. You know, I know this is your thing, man. So right now we started, Walt. I mean, we ain't making it to the playoffs. It's time to evaluate these guys, man, and get our team back on the right track, man. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yep. So I just want to start. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Of course, we know it's a very early on a Saturday morning. It's icy cold outside for most of the viewers who viewing us, I'm sure. This type of weather, everybody wants to sleep in for the most part. It's still the beginning of the year. A lot of people also aren't back to work yet. Now I'm back to work, as you said. We were talking about it before we started the show. You ain't getting no time off work for that matter. Yo, so but we up. I'm up. I've been up since I think 7:30. Made myself a nice cup of coffee, black, no cream, no sugar. Straight to the station, baby. Straight to the stimulation. But so we starting out with linebacker for no particular reason. I both agree that linebacker is a concern moving forward for this team. There's a good chance goodwill between this team and Alexander gone. Kind of got ruined with how things were handled in regards to his contract situation last offseason. So there's a chance Alex won't be back. I wouldn't mind seeing Malcolm Rodriguez. Heart wouldn't be broken if Malcolm isn't back. Derek Barnes, at the end of the day, Derek Barnes is a decent player, but we pretty much know where Derek Barnes' ceiling is. Good he honestly is. I don't expect Derek Barnes out the blue to become 140 tackle, 3 forced, 4 interception, DeAndre Levy type of linebacker. That's not what he is.
Yeah.
So for those of you who understand why linebacker is a very serious concern, area of need for this team, we want to give you a little bit of a breakdown. That right alone and what we explained about what in regards to the linebacker situation heading into 2020. But also want to build around Jack Campbell. You don't want to leave too many areas of the defense void of insulation. Yep. You know, you look at the defensive line. We've been talking the last 3 years about needing more protection for Aiden Hutchinson on the opposite end of him. Have all the quality defensive interior talent you want. If you have and I'm going to say this because in hindsight, we're comparing Aiden Hutchinson to his peers, the TJ Watts of the world, the Myles Garretts, the Nick Bosa. When he's healthy, Nick Bosa is one of the 3 best edge rushers and all. He's not that level of player. That he had probably the quietest 13.5 sacks seen out of any edge rusher. It just feels like his sacks don't come in the biggest moments in the biggest games. Now, 13.5 sacks is 13.5 sacks. We get that. But I say all that to say this. You still want to get someone to ease some opposite of him. And if you look at the linebacking core right now, Jack Campbell's tremendous. Jack had his best year as a pro, made the Pro Bowl, yeah. We expect him to end up. We expect him to be all-pro, at least in the running to be an all-pro next season. And this was a big reason why we also talked about another who we probably don't have a shot at getting in, Arvell Reese. The linebacker, he felt like he would be the complement to who Jack is on the interior. And for a team that plans on running a lot of 4 linebackers, 4 fronts, 4 linebackers behind it, you want to have a guy like Anthony Hill Jr. And before we get into the video, for people who are looking for interceptions in this game, a bunch of forced fumbles, a bunch of blown gap assignments in front of him from his defensive line, lead to him having to overcompensate outside the tackle box and make a whole bunch of big-time flashy plays. You don't get that from this game at all. And the reason you don't get that from this game is because you mentioned it. You know, his defensive front dominated Ohio State's offensive line. And Ohio State probably 2, maybe 3 draftable guys on that defense. I mean, on the offensive line. And you can
Yes.
also blame it on the fact that this was week 0, if I'm not mistaken. This was the first game of the season for both of these teams. Neither offense was revved up at all. You had Arch Manning making if I'm not mistaken, that was his 6th career start. Arch had a lot of stuff going against him, working against him. Julian Sion, he's also a guy who's fresh to the whole field. So for the most part, so neither offense were in position to make either defense look, all that bad. But if you how Texas defensive line dominated Ohio State's offensive line, you're talking about 203 yards of total offense they gave up to Ohio State. 126 through the air, 77 on the ground. Ohio State only averaged 3.8 yards per play. And they were also 3 for 12 on third down in this game. So all those numbers kind of prove to me that's supposed to be an easy day for an off-ball linebacker or even a middle linebacker. So what you were able to get from him in this game was a lot of elite level run play, a lot of situations where all he had to do was play clean up in case his defensive tackles of him did get blown out of those gaps, and he was always there to come up and make the play. There was a lot of gang tackling in this game also because his defensive front did what they were supposed to do on the interior.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a bunch of plays, you're not going to really get that. What's going on, Al Torrey? Thanks for joining us this morning. You're not going to get a bunch of flashy plays, but as we mentioned, when we get into his Oklahoma film, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, that's where you're going to see more big-time plays, from him. But all right, so one more thing before we get into the video, I want to bring up a quick graphic just to get people a little bit more acquainted with Anthony Hill Jr. 238 pounds. All thoughts on him? Didn't get these for anybody else. His positional rank currently, PFF has him ranked as the 4th overall linebacker. OurLads.com, another publication, draftcation I lean on a lot because I do like their work. Our Lads has him ranked 6th. So for the most part, you got to figure he's somewhere between 3 and 5, 3 and 6 for that matter. Haven't seen him ranked as number 1 or number 2 since the beginning of this season, but you can get it right there. PFF has him ranked currently 4th backer. Our Lads has him currently ranked at 6th. Ideal athleticism and versatility, and you're going to see that in this video. He's a guy who has almost free safety, not free safety, but safety type of versatility and system. I expect him to run somewhere around 4.5 at the combine, which is great for an off-ball linebacker or a middle linebacker for that matter. Off the rip, you can tell he's an elite run defender, outstanding lateral quickness, and that sideline to sideline range is almost like a safety out there. You mentioned the playmaking alone. He has 70 total tackles, but he had 38 solo tackles, 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. And his numbers were down from last season. Yeah, that's a lot to say about this kid. And then I don't think he's a polished pass rusher. Don't really expect him to be as a linebacker, but does have a ton of speed off the edge. And he does navigate well through traffic to find the football. So he's a ball hunter out who also provides you some pass coverage ability. Not so much in man, but he's a guy, as you mentioned, he's a kid with a ton of athleticism. I don't like his body for that matter. And I get it. It's not so much always about the body type or the weight. Sometimes you have to judge these kids for who they are individually. But the 238, it's a slim 238. Like when you see him on the field, he's a muscular, lean 238. Now that doesn't mean by the time he gets to the NFL, by the time the combine rolls around, he won't weigh in at 243, 244, 245. Not that hard for a 238-pound linebacker before the NFL combine. I worry about the frame because he is kind of thin. He is kind of high cut. And just to make the comparison, if you look at he denies that Roquan is one of the 2-3 best linebackers of football. but he doesn't have the most ideal body either. It's kind of awkward built, kind of Nakobe Dean, kind of funny built body, but Roquan Smith is thickly built, low to the ground, and very stout and powerful in his lower body. Takes on guards very well. He shoots the gap and he doesn't blow tackles. Now, when I do see, he doesn't blow tackles that much, but when he matches up or he gets matched up against a tackle or a guard, he does struggle. As you would expect any off-ball linebacker for that matter to struggle, because he's not the most stout. He's not the most powerful. He has good handwork that he does beat guards, so because it's usually with speed and handwork matter. So, before we get into the video, man, set the tone. Anything else you want to let these people know about Anthony before we get into this quick breakdown?
Yeah, just what you said on your player profile when you had it up. And I mentioned that, and I'm glad you put that up about if you put an athletic, and NFL teams are going to have film on Anthony Hill. And I think just what you said, man, and we're in a day and age where only thing I worry about is we're in a day and age where you need more athletic, physical offensive linemen, on the offensive line in NFL. And maybe it may be an adjustment period for him. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the kid that the Raiders took, the pass rusher? I can't think of the top of my head. And he was the same kind of, even though he was more of a DN. What's his name?
Tyree Wilson.
I can't hear you, but Tyree Wilson. Tyree, thank you. Well, yeah, he was a guy super athletic. You remember, a freak athlete, but it seems like he has problem with more athletic offensive linemen. You know what I'm saying? And I think Anthony Hill might have an adjustment, even though he's got some better tools being a linebacker. He got a little bit more movement in his hips. He does move his hips good. And the only thing I could say this, by being hid by a lot of good players, Trey Moore, I think, is on that linebacker core for Texas as well. Another guy that's pretty good that may be drafted later on in the draft. It's almost like he waited for the contact sometime. I'm talking about Anthony Hill. Like, instead of forcing it, like he waited until the point of attack where the lineman got up on him, was able to put their hands on him, and then he started to react, and then he just more physical, stronger, or more athletic, and then he would make his move and make the play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm nitpicking this kid, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything about him just tells me he's going to be a good player in the NFL. But I do think it could be an adjustment, long story short, with the more athletic tackles and guards in the NFL these days. I think he's going to have to find out. But like you said, if you could play next to a Jack Campbell, or you got Brian Burns on your defense, you can hide him and then cut him loose. You know what I'm saying? I think that's with the Jets, might need somebody like that, that you could, the Raiders, somebody with an already established defensive lineman like Max Crosby. You put Anthony Hill in there, and deploy him and let him do his thing. So, yeah, I'm excited about this guy, man. Go ahead and
No, I think if you look at our defensive line also, I think we got as a front overall, we got enough protection around. He's still more scheme dependent, because I think if you put a base 4-3 and expect him to be every down middle linebacker, I'm not sure that's what he is. Most of these lines coming out of college now, a lot of them are former safeties in high school who put on a little weight. Not none of them. A lot of them aren't good enough in coverage. And typically a physical free safety or strong safety who isn't great in coverage, what happens? They push him down into the box. Because you can always go play linebacker if you can't cover as safety. We can get away in coverage not being as great as coverage on the back end, playing linebacker more than I can as safety. In this day and age in the NFL, the Mark Carrier and the Ronnie Lotts, like those can't cover as a safety in this bill, you damn near unplayable. But if you look at our defense, as you mentioned, he's Campbell next to him. He would have Jack Campbell next to him. He's got Tyree Williams in front of him. We think we expect him to be Tyreek Williams.
Tyreek Williams,
Of course, he's got Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. You expect Barnes to be back. So it's laying in a defensive front with no protection and no help. He would have guys that would allow him. That's why I think both of us are really high on R, because if you're looking for technique, which is kind of in theory a guy who can be a front seven weapon, that's what I think Anthony Hill Jr. can possibly be. If he lands in the right defense or the right type of defense, 3-3-5 front, where they can allow him to just shoot gaps that are blown. Make sure you don't allow contain to be broken on game. Get you out there. I actually think he's also a perfect Tampa 2 middle linebacker. If you did want to play him at linebacker, kind of Derrick Brooks-esque, because not to say he's got Derrick Brooks type of body type. Yeah, but he's a physical player who can get out there. He can cover. He's a sound tackler, and he's a playmaker. So I think he's a guy who we don't want to jump the gun completely now because it's still so early in the process, but he's a guy that you and I both do like a lot. So, all right, man, let's get into this.
One thing I just want to add, just what you said, Walt, and I just think just the thought of him and Jack Campbell together, you got two tackling machines, but I think he's way more athletic than Jack. You know what I'm saying? So I think he brings another element. I think that if we drafted him, he would automatically be like the top line. You know what I'm saying? He has a skill set nobody on our defense has.
Strictly from a talent standpoint,
you know what I'm saying?
Would be our best linebacker.
Yeah, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against the other guys or anything like that. It's just that when I'm drafting, especially in the first round or drafting a first round talent, regardless of the position, okay, but especially a linebacker, this guy checks all the boxes. He's got everything you would want as far as like a guy who could okay, how many times do we see drafting a kid and he ain't ready to play? Right. I mean, that for me, the biggest gripe I got about the draft, about the Lions, I'm just talking about the Lions, for instance, is just drafting guys and you gotta and he's not ready to play. I mean, I don't think that Anthony Hill Jr. is a guy that, you draft him and say, well, he's got to earn his spot. Well, that's bull, because right off the bat, you got a guy who's got traits on our team that nobody else has right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? So that makes him a unicorn with our team. Like you said, it is going to be based on what defense he goes to. But I do think, like you said, you deploy him, shoot him out of a cannon, man, in the gaps, in certain situations on third down. But I like the thought of him being an every down linebacker, just sitting back, making plays, man. Because how many times did we see him against Kentucky, against Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, where he it was bad quarterback play, especially you had a couple freshman quarterbacks he was going against, I remember, that just made some bad plays, and he just made a play, put his hands up, tipped the ball to himself, ran it in for a touchdown. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So you're going to have more smart quarterback play. So then in theory, I think you can drop him back, Walt, and just let him be a tackling machine. Remember, it's a kid who forces a lot of fumbles. You know what I'm saying? And when he gets there, he can make some plays. But like you said, an occasional third down, let him loose. You know what I mean? I think it's perfect, just what you said. So
yeah, definitely. Like I said, he's a playmaker. Yeah. He doesn't just typically when he tackle from the time to time is because coming in and trying to go for the football. I never would want to coach linebackers football. Cornersback or safeties either. Don't blow the tackle, but we only care about you not going for the tackle when you don't force a turnover. No, we never talk about the amount of blown tackles Peanut Tillman had. All we taught is the punch outs, the peanut punch out, and him forcing the turnovers. And like I said, he's a very instinctful football player. Now, does he have some limitations? Of course. He's still not the best in man coverage. I don't expect you to be always the best at man coverage. Can he get blown out sometimes by some faster running backs? Of course. I expect a young, athletic running back to take advantage of a linebacker. You should be able to, because at the end of the day, even though he's 238 or 235, he's still a linebacker going up against a running back. But if you talk to a guy who can cover a lot of tight ends in the slot if you need him to, as I mentioned, I think he's a perfect Tampa middle linebacker. One of those guys who you put him in space and you allow him to make plays. And at the end of the day, you could have a guy who could potentially be one hell of a football player at the next level. So, all right, man, let's get into this. We are jumping into draft, and in our first, we have Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker, Ohio State. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for a bunch of flashy plays in this game, you're not going to get that. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, Texas defensive line in front, as you see him right there in the middle, right there lined up over his tackle, his defensive tackle right in the middle.
Yeah.
Offensive line has about 3 guys, draftable guys on the offensive line. And Tech offensive line, now you can chalk that up to being the first game of the season, offensive for both teams being a little bit out of whack. But they dominated Ohio State at the defense, at the line of scrimmage, to the point where Anthony Hill Jr. really didn't need to do a lot in this game other than just make sure he maintained gap integrity in case his defensive lineman of him did get blown out of the gaps, and he was always there to clean or make sure. And this is a guy right here, the white guy over here at edge. Ethan Burke for Texas right there. You can see him. He's lined up at right end. He's the guy we're gonna do some film study on too. Also 6'5", 265. We're gonna get some film study going on with him later on in the draft process once we get to the edge. But his defensive ends and his defensive tackles in front of him did a great job in this game. Whereas you see even on this play, there's really not much work for him to do to get to the C gap to play.
There you go, and make a play.
That's it. Make sure that if your edge doesn't make the play, you make the play.
Yeah, because you can't exactly. And I like
Follow 12.
Yeah, and this is a well coached. I don't know who the defensive coordinator is for Texas on the top of my head, but well coached, man. And like you said, because he had protection around him, because even you see, I don't know who the safety is that's behind him. He's in tight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, well, both guys is in tight, actually. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there's Anthony Hill right there. Now, let me ask you a question, Walt. Now, okay, I was just gonna say, does he's not like is that adjustment period to be like a guy that's got a call? He never really called defenses, did he, at Texas? Or, you know, does what I'm getting and what I'm asking you is, does some teams have like that linebacker that calls out the defense, or is that more just like a pro thing? You know what I'm saying? Where I think you got one green dot.
I think it's all based upon system in college and whether or not you need that from your middle linebacker. Some defenses, the safety calls it. I know most safety does call the coverages on the back end. That may not be his responsibility. As you can see right here, it looks to me like that's number 18 next to him. 18 is telling him to make sure he stays. And for people who don't get what that play was right there, he's telling him to stays right there. And you got to be ready to take on 85, because if you see what 85, the tight end, did right there, if not mistaken, the A gap. So you got to be prepared to make sure that if your tackle, your defensive tackle, gets blown out of there, you're there to 85. Now, as we said before, his defensive tackles wasn't playing that shit this game. There was no A gaps blown up in this game. There were no B gaps blown up. B gaps blown up. It was him just making sure he maintained clean football play and did not allow those running backs to get to the second level. Now you're going to get him a little bit in pass cover.
Oh, yeah. That was a lot of
right there in the middle again.
That was a lot of damn cover. So that way him.
Well, actually, they brought him.
Yeah. No, that's okay. But I have seen him. No, but I have seen it's tape on Anthony Hill, like 20 yards down the field, Walt, making plays. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's got some good range where, man, he was like you said, like a de facto strong safety. You know what I'm saying? He covered that much ground. So
trying to figure out who's number 18 because, like I say, he's key in what they're doing too.
Yeah.
Find out who this kid is.
And and I don't want to get anything confused about it either because he may not call plays, may not be a
Mhm.
strong suit. 18, look, listen, calling plays may be 18 strong suit or
That's
someone
right.
else's
Yeah.
strong suit, but he may be a weapon within their front seven that they want to make sure they keep him in the right spot because even this right now in this situation right here, he's got a gap responsibility. He's got 77 right there. His job
Yeah.
right there is to make sure actually
Oh,
the
shit.
nose tackle lined up right over center right there. He's got first A gap responsibility. This is a situation where you want to make sure you can two gap, and we're gonna get into the defensive tackle video later on it in the draft process. His nose tackle needs to make sure he protects both gaps in this situation, unless 18 is coming. And even if 18 is coming on this play against 51, you still don't want a safety or a linebacker type one-on-one with a guard.
Yeah.
Now, in this situation, keep this on Anthony Hill Jr. and what happens on this play. Okay, so 77 is going to shift over. 75 is going to pull over to the A gap to pick him up. Does is try to, and this is what I don't really care for with Anthony Hill Jr., especially like on this play right here. I get it, you 238. Do I expect you to go mano y mano, man on man, 315 pound yards consistently? No. But there's not much speed. It's not much speed you can use to beat a guard in the tight space like this at the A gap. But that's initially what his first move is. And it's kind of, you know what? Yeah, it's over with now.
Yeah, he got caught up. Yeah, he got caught. But 18,
he got caught up.
Yeah, 18 is Leona.
And there you go to the ground.
Yeah, Leona LaFou. That's who that is. Leona LaFou. I kind of like this kid already. We not even talking about him. 6'1", 227. He is a junior as well. Well, linebacker.
So yeah, he got some good players next to him, man. And like you said, that was something you just brought up, something that weakness that I didn't see. So what I'm saying, maybe he's got to find maybe he's not where he's supposed to be in that play. I'm not sure. You know, maybe he was. Maybe he just got overpowered by that was the one time he got in that game. You know what I'm saying? From what you just showed. So yeah, keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Good. You all good, bro. All right, so on this play, they're sitting back in 4-2-5 defense, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. Usually when they're shaded outside the hashes this far, even though he's right now shaded on the inside of the hashes, the other one is on the outside of the hashes. This is usually a sign that either is going to be some fanning zone coverage.
Yeah.
But you still have to, against this alignment that they have, Ohio State sitting in, was it 11-man personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight end? No, they had 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's 1 running back and they've got 1 tight. Yep. So you still have to be cautious raw in this play, just simply because of where Ohio State currently is lined up.
Now, where's Hill at? Exactly. Where's Hill at on this play? Is he to the right? Is that him right there? That's Hill.
I'm sorry, back for you. I got you. Right there.
I just want to see. Okay.
So he's outside linebacker in this 4-2-5, 3 safeties per deep. Now what happened is one of those safeties is going to come up. He appears to be playing Joker in that situation. So he's going to sit. They're going to sit. If I'm not mistaken, is that Carnell Tate that they're sending in motion? Signal for this safety, this free safety back here, get outside the hashes for that right corner, that left corner over there. So all of this stuff makes sense, and we want to make sure explain this to everybody, because otherwise, when you watch a linebacker film, you can just get caught up in, oh, that guy didn't do a damn thing. He just got caught up in trash. Why was he doing that? His job on this play, which is what happens right here, make sure that running back does not break contain. Now he's going to get matched up once again with a wide receiver. Just let that wide receiver wanted no parts of blocking at all. That's pretty gay. I don't even say that. Let me not say that at all. But that was pretty soft. Pretty soft at all. All right, so we got this right here because it turned out to be a run defense play.
Mhm.
And you're going to get him. Make sure you take that C gap.
I like he was ready. I
Number
mean,
one
Hill,
wants no part of him.
yeah. Hill was ready anyway. He was gonna smash whoever. But like you said, look,
See, how did that play end up? Did Hill make the tackle, or he just pretty much played his spot? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
let's see.
You see
yeah,
right
he
there,
still was in-
the wide receiver wanted no parts of him at all.
Yeah, he did.
And if I'm
he
I'm Ohio State, I'm mad at him because you gave up absolutely no ground at all.
Yeah.
You let that happen just like that. Hill wouldn't have made the play. There's a good chance that running back would have still gotten through. But no, because if I'm not mistaken, that's Ethan Hawke. Not Ethan Burke.
You think about Ethan Hawke,
Burke, 91, who made the play. Ethan Burke steps in. So
Yeah.
even if Hill wouldn't have got over there, Burke was there to make the play. Ethan Burke, a hell of a player too, man.
Yeah, 6'6", 259. Ethan Burke
is a hell of. You're right. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got 2 high safeties, 4 down linemen. They got 3 linebackers in the box. So all this kind of points towards you got split field coverage, I think, over here to the right. 3 men against 2 men side. Got 1 running back. In most cases, this would be a running play. But you got to always be leery of that play action. Just this alignment right here, this stacked, but this shorter alignment that Ohio State has. But if you're him, once again, I'm going to go back so everybody can get a key on exactly where Anthony Hill Jr. is lined up. They got him in the middle right here. So he's making the call now. He's making the call.
Okay.
IQ. He sniffed screen out. You said he sniffed this screen out.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Before the ball was
That's
even
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
He did this one more time.
I like that.
Yeah, because
see the 2 plays he made down his God. I was just gonna say he smelled blood. See, and he got instinct. Well, what I'm saying, okay, look, they got him backed up, right? They inside the 10-yard line. I think that this is where when you want to make a play, this is Lord, this is your time. Like, I think he realizes the moment and he realizes that I have to make a play. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing. I just think some guys have it, Walt, some guys don't. And I think you can tell he wants to make a play. You know what I mean? And that's why Norton, 9 times out of 10, he does make a play because he knows the situation. I don't know if this was a 3rd down or 2nd down or whatever the case may be. You got them guys inside the 10-yard line.
That's on Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, that's on Jeremiah Smith.
Smith hit him. Jeremiah hit him with a move, though.
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. That's Jay Smith out there. Look at this.
Yeah, that boy was there.
He recovered, though. He got a hand out there.
Yeah, he recovered, got a hand on him. They made the play.
Right, this is 3rd and 8 right here.
Okay. Oh, that play right there.
So this is 3rd and 8.
Oh, that's 3rd and 8. Okay.
No, this play right here that we got up here is 3rd and 8. 3-by-2 formation, empty back, got 5 wide out there. Obvious passing play in this situation, and he's ready to blitz. He's all the way up to that A gap right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire zone. Good coverage right here because he's gonna walk this up, and what people don't understand who don't understand. Fire zone. Exactly. So they start with 1, 2, 3, 4 down linemen, another guy off the edge next to the right defensive end, and they also walk Anthony Hill Jr. up to that A gap. But after the ball, Hill Jr. and the other linebacker on bail.
Yeah. Great
coverage. The linebacker don't know his name. The linebacker who's playing inside next to Anthony Hill Jr., he's on that tight end right there. There's nowhere for the quarterback Sayon to Gus. And then you got Anthony Hill Jr. who drops. So that's Anthony Hill Jr. who fans out and covers the tight end. Watch this. and 3 pass rush, 50-50.
Okay.
So Anthony Hill Jr. on that play, he at least, just to go back real quick, he's got his man covered. He's got that outplay covered.
Yeah. Man, he can provide the help, and he can recover and still make can still disguise. That's another thing, man. When you got enough speed to fake the blitz or just show blitz, or you know what I'm saying, to show that it could be something, exotic, he still got the right body movement, man, to even make it in coverage. That's impressive right there. You know what I mean? That just shows that he's got playmaking ability. He really does, man. He good reaction time, good speed, good twitchiness, what they call it. I mean, 10 games, 69 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 picks. I mean, I can see why. That's an average of 7 tackles a game. I can see why he's in on a lot of plays. I mean, obviously a linebacker, you want your linebacker to be in. Maybe some might say, you need to have more than 7 tackles, but I think because he's doing so many other things in coverage, I think that's why the tackles are low. You know what I mean? But yeah, this Texas team, man, is really good on defense. I mean, they got some players. I was looking up they got 2 other seniors on the defensive line. 99 is Cole Brevard, looks like from Indiana. Yep. He's from hometown Indiana. That's another kid, man. It looks like he could be a ball player like Ethan Bryant. I'll see. Now you brought up Braden Fisk last 2 drafts ago. I like Jared Verse. You and I remember Lamar brought me to the party on Braden Fisk. Maybe Ethan Burke is this year's version. I mean, even though he's outside, but I gotta look at Ethan Burke some more because he's a senior as well. You know what I mean? Gonna be in this draft. So I like it, man. I'm sorry, I mean cut you off again, but it's just
no, you good.
Gotta looking at these
guys. Now this time they got Hill. Now see, this is what I want to see more of. And maybe like the defensive end, I see him on the bottom part of the defense here, you know what I'm saying, on the edge. I mean, we got this whole play, how it turns out, because I want to see how does he get shed? Does he shed the block, or does he even get touched on this play? Go ahead and run it. I want to see if
it's all about. So if you look at Texas and this alignment, they got 3 down linemen. It appears that they're blitzing him as well as the right outside linebacker at the top. But what happens is the complexity of this defense, you think that's what's going to happen, but this is where knowing your keys, being able to read and diagnose on the fly really comes into play, because it appears he's going to blitz that from the 5 tech. It appears that's what he's going to do. He's going to hit that C gap outside the tackle between the tight end. But what he's going to do is he's going to sniff out as soon as this boom. Mm-hmm. Look at this.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah,
he's not worried about he's not worried about this tight end blocking him. My responsibility is soon as that running back breaks to the left, I'm breaking too. Mm-hmm. Boom. That screen is not there. I think I wanted that screen, but Anthony Hill Jr. is already in place before he even turns to make that to sniff that screen out. Play dead. Play's dead. This dude moves around like a safety.
Yeah. Right. And then he got mopped up by the whoever D lineman. Yeah.
It seemed like, man, Texas was just consistently one step ahead in this game defensively against the Buckeyes offense. So got 4 down linemen. You got 3 guys playing in the box. Looks like 1 high safety. You got man at the top against Carnell. No, I keep wanting to call him Carnell Lake. That's the dude who used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers back.
Yeah.
Carnell Tate, for that man. So you got man coverage.
Yeah.
So if you Ohio State looking at this from their perspective, you see man coverage at the top of the screen with Carnell Tate. You got the Texas corner at the bottom of the screen, off zone, clear off zone, which is like if Smith starts to get deep, he's going to go ahead and release him to the safety. Or is he going to release him inside? Okay, that's key also. So that lets you know that they were planning to run up front from day one on this play.
Yeah, single high
So
safety.
you got him right.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got Anthony Hill Jr. right there playing middle linebacker. All of this looks like it's going to be a rushing attack, in general. And play your gap. Take on that guard. But this is another play where the play went backside. Didn't have really anything to do with him. But it's still good to see him take on the guard and disengage. Takes on 51.
Yeah, that's Montgomery. I think Montgomery is senior, darn good offensive lineman, 51 for Ohio State. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want to see that too, like him being able to shed some more athletic, offensive linemen in those situations. But
now I put this here because when you look at 2nd down and 7, I would say in this day and age with most offenses, it's a 70-30 chance that if it's a 2nd down and 7 like this, that they're going to throw the ball. Some offenses that can run the ball really well, will they still run the ball on 2nd and 7? Sure. But in this game, Ohio State struggling to run the football. They were trying to get the play action going. They were struggling to get the passing attack going completely. But like I said, 2nd down and 7, it's a 70-30 of this being a throw or a run based upon the type of offense you're going against. What he's going to do, they're going to go ahead and bring him on this play. If you can see him, I'm going to go back for you guys one more time. 2nd down 7 from the own 23-yard line. They're going to go ahead and bring him. And his job, once again, you got that guard. Oh, beat him. Now, I don't understand exactly what the guard was doing on that play. He gave him a complete free release, maybe because he knew the ball was already scheduled to be out. So he's going to set him up with a outside. Cut back quick. Now, that's a testament to his overall quickness. Now, granted, the running back was there. So even if, the quarterback would have held on to the football, there's a good chance that running back was going to chip him play anyway.
Yeah.
You can see this right here.
Yeah.
He's got the guard technically. Ball's gone, though. Quick 1st down to Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State. Move on to the next play, 1st and 10 from the Ohio State 39-yard line. 3 safeties up high. One's going to come down. He's going to play the right. Once he sees the ball has been handed off, that safety in the middle is going to shoot that gap right here by his other safety. So you're going to have plays where Anthony Hill Jr. is not the guy making the play. It's somebody else making the play because you see this safety right here. Read the diagnose, bam, play over with. Now you see a lot of this from Texas in this game. Tech front, as well as their secondary tackle very well. They read and diagnosed very well. Now you're going to get him outside. He's not blitzing on his plays. It doesn't look like he's blitzing by his stance. Again, you're going to get him at that 5 technique. Drop down. Read and diagnose quickly. I'm damn near at the line of scrimmage for the foot. But listen, before the runner reaches the line of scrimmage, he's already 1 yard past the scrimmage. There's nowhere for this running back to really go, but he makes a hell of and gets something out. But in theory, that was to happen.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, this is where okay, so 93 and mistaken 84 both got blown right there out of that B gap. So once they get blown out of that B gap, Anthony Hill Jr., I'm gonna need you to take on this tight end, right? I'm gonna need you to take this guy on, and you don't get blown out of your gap, which in return would leave us with State picking up 6 yards on this play, if I'm not mistaken. Now, boom, look at that. That guard's got his arms right around his hand placement. It's on Anthony Hill Jr., number 0 right there. I'm gonna just turn Anthony Hill right out of that gap.
Yeah.
Shout out to the tight end too, number 85, because he handled that play well. once the running back asked him, he let Anthony Hill. If you hold on too long, the ref's going to eventually hit you with a holding call. But that wasn't a holding call on 85 at all. I think he just did a great job of blocking Anthony Hill, disengaging. So Hill's going to drop back into coverage.
That whole Texas defensive line, man, getting drafted.
Dude, think about how many of these dudes got drafted the last two. Byron Murphy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy. Baron Sorrell went to Green Bay last year.
San Francisco got one of them too from last year. So yeah, it's Texas. They've been holding as far as that defensive line.
Yeah, the factory, man.
All he's gonna do is play a little Tampa right. Yep.
Was Travis Shaw,
number 44 senior. Looks like he could be a player, 6'5", 342. Man, they got some good players on the Texas team. But I can see why, like you just explained it right here, why Anthony Hill was so successful. I mean, he did look like, now that we're looking at this, man, to me, you know, that's gonna be a problem. See, NFL, you know, gonna have tape on this, obviously, and you want to I think you want to put some hands on him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, all, you know, linebackers may struggle with that or something if you put a bigger guy on him. But I just think the physicality of the offensive line position is going to be adjustment for them. I mean, that will be, because they're going to be, you know, knowing what number 0 is at all times. So you're going to put some in the NFL. They're going to put somebody on you, you know, where you may not have just a free line to the quarterback every single time, you know, but he will be able to pick his spots though. And I think he's athletic enough to still make some plays regardless of if they know he coming or not. You know what I mean? I think he's got that talent, that first round talent, to be able to recover or, you know, make himself look good, even though he did kind of, you know, get caught up, and he could still, you know, powerful enough. And like you said, I think it was good you said about the body aspect of it, because I think he's powerful enough in his lower body where he can handle, you know, taking on offensive linemen. I just think that he's got to decipher, you know, the what, the how, the when. I mean, you know what I'm saying, Walt? I think it's going to be an adjustment just being a young player going against a grown man, you know what I'm saying, and being young, rookie coming into the NFL. But man, the physical traits make up for a lot of the mistakes sometimes, you know. So we'll see.
No, definitely. He's more so.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, see.
Yeah, from a versatility standpoint, and if you notice in this game, they gave him a lot of running back responsibility. You know, there's quite a few plays where, regardless of what the play call ultimately may have been for State, they ain't too bad. Keep your damn head up. Regardless of what the play been for Ohio State, he still stayed with the running back regardless. So that right there is, most defensive coordinators, they're not going to put you in a situation as a linebacker to exclusively cover running backs unless you have the raw athleticism to do it. And he definitely does. So rewind this play right here.
Yeah, just down at the goal line. I like this. Yeah.
I don't know what this was. You're not taking on the guard. You're taking on 85. They gave it. This is kind of what it wasn't necessarily. I want to say disappointing, because the final play of this game also was a play where he rushed the passer and get a sack, and he was stopped by a running back. Too often see him getting stopped by tight ends. Now, granted, these tight ends ain't 238. You talking about a lot matched up against at the NFL level, as well as college. These guys are 6'4", 6'5", 255, 60. Some of these tight ends. But as a linebacker, you got to do a way better job of taking on these tight ends than he does. I don't get why he's doing this. I would have liked to see him a little bit better, because he went straight in narrow with the tight end to his chest narrow. Yeah, and then allowed that.
Yeah.
So in that case, I
Yeah, I
don't
think
need you to get caught up in the garbage. Don't get engaged and make the play. Boom.
Yeah.
You know why he did that also? Now that I looked at 20 of
That's
time
what I
over the
mean,
past
man.
week,
Yeah.
he lost
Yeah.
track of the running
Right.
back. Look where his head looking at the
Thanks.
football.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. That's
Red
right.
zone.
Yeah.
Draw. And defensive front is there. Great job
Yeah, I
of his
see it right there. Yeah.
defense by his defensive tackle in front of him too.
Mhm.
Taking on two guys right here, right in front of number 0. And in that case, if number 0 for number 40 can't take on that double team, or 93 gets blown out of that A gap, Anthony Hill Jr.'s responsibility is to shoot that A gap and shoot that run back right there. But once again,
blow him up.
You see what his offensive line does. Yep. 93 throwing his offensive lineman, he got matched up against out the club right there. And everything is clogged up. A gap, B gap is clogged up on the right side. I think this game, for the most part, is more so of a testament to Texas front 7 and how well they played.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a replay.
Yeah.
You know, they've been doing a damn good job this whole game. 3rd and 2 from the 2-yard line. Okay, so in this situation, you're talking about 50-50 play, man. 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
You're either going to get a counter out of that element, or you're going to get a play action to one of the running backs. What do they get? Play dead. Like, Texas did a great job on the front line. They knew their keys.
Yeah.
They knew their keys for damn sure in this game, man. So that leaves them
It
with
seemed
a 4th
like they
down.
never got. Yeah, I was just gonna say they didn't never. They were confident. The game plan was we were going to overpower them. I can see just by the play calling. It was like Ohio State couldn't throw. You know what I mean? They got 2 great receivers, and it's like they didn't. It was no threat. You know what I mean? They didn't throwing over the. How the hell you gonna play over single high safety a lot with Jeremiah Smith on the field? You know what I mean? That just shows you, man, you really got confidence that your D line gonna win most of these plays, and then that's what happened. You know, because I'd be scared to death to do that against Jeremiah Smith, to just have one guy back there. You know, but they did it.
All right, so went ahead a couple plays. 2nd and 7 on back in.
Yeah. And Ohio State got a good offensive line, man. I mean, that's not to be, understated. I mean, it's not like, Ohio State is like, they playing against Appalachian State or something like that. I mean, Ohio State is a really good, like you said, he got 3 offensive linemen probably going to be in the draft, man. The first couple rounds, first 3 or 4 rounds in the draft. So, yeah, I mean, it's this impressive. The whole, like you said, I think it was more of a team. It wasn't like Anthony Hill dominated this game, but I don't think he may not be that type of player, in NFL, where he's going to dominate the whole game, but maybe he does 5 or 6 splash plays within the game, like you said, in times where he's called upon to make some plays. And then trust me, he'll make a lot of money in the league doing that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a guy every down there, but when it's time to make a play, man, that's when I think for him, I think it's going to be beneficial, because he's so athletic, he's so fast, he's got some power to him, but the defensive lapses make, keep him off the field in some situations if he can't shed blocks, or if he's getting caught, like you say. I like your way you put that. If he's getting caught up in the junk all the time and not, not getting involved or not being where he's supposed to be. In NFL, that's number one thing. You got to be where you're supposed to be, man. If not, you can find yourself, instead of playing 50 snaps, you paying 30 because they don't trust you yet. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's got to be around players around him, and I think, man, it would be good to see him in Lions uniform because he's got, like you said, some player. We already have some resources on defense, so I think it's not like we totally suck on defense. So we do, with him, with Jack Campbell, with an Aiden Hutchinson, with a Talik Williams, insert another player, whoever you want to add, it might be good. So what's that?
That's Ethan Burke.
Oh, yeah,
out
Ethan
there.
Burke, 91. Yeah.
That's 90-0.
Yeah, they're both right there. Yeah.
2nd and 9, ball on the 2-yard line. Typically a run, and it is. And he's right there. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so what you think his responsibility is here? Because he's lined up right behind his defensive tackle on that play.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, that's another two-gap situation.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this because I would say this. I know he's there. He's there supporting the run. Look how tight he is to the line. But my thing is, where is he gonna go? Like, what door is he gonna go into? Okay, that's how I'm looking at it. And I think more inside. I'm gonna say he's got one shoe to the left, which tells me he's going inside. So he's gonna hope. What is that? Is that Montgomery 51 for Ohio State? Now Montgomery's smart enough not to get caught up with the guy that's in front of Anthony Hill. So it's going to be key to see what Montgomery does because Hill and Montgomery basically got to fight for the same spot, basically, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So what I'm saying is I think when the ball is hiked, Anthony Hill is going to go inside to the left. That's what I think is going to happen. You know what I mean? Now, if he gets caught up, I was just going to say, if he cannot get caught up, like if he commits to it, man, Anthony Hill should make this play, but I don't know. It was 67. I think that's next. I think that might be Schriefeld. That's next to Montgomery. It's going to be key because both of these guys, I think both of these guys are going to be in the NFL draft for Ohio State. It's going to be key to see how they handle it because I know they see him right there. They see like, well, damn, number 0's right there. He's coming. You know what I'm saying? 18, he ain't no slouch either, but I'm going to say Anthony Hill going to the left, to his left. Let's see how it turn out. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, just basing everything off of like linebackers, everybody's what they do is going to be predicated off what happens in front of them. His defensive tackle in front of him, a 4-eye over. You're right. Is that 87? I believe. In front of so he's sitting in a 4-eye.
67. Yeah. Yep. I see. 67.
Yeah. So his defensive tackle is pretty much in a pass rushing alignment. That guard right next to 67.
Yeah.
Right there. He's gonna protect that B gap. He's gonna protect that A gap. Okay. Yep. Now what's gonna happen is we go ahead and let this go a little bit. So they both chip down. They both 93.
Yeah. Then Hill got to get there. He got to get there. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
3 out of the way so we can blow open that A gap and we can get this counter going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 41 is holding his ground. What 44 is holding his ground. In theory, what you would want 44 to do is pay attention to what's going on next to him with his homeboy number 93. If you can possibly move the center over into that gap, kind of use the center as a blocker, as a help blocker to stop the running back.
Yeah.
You can do that. Now, what's going to happen is, boom, the running back, I don't know why he did that. Because you would think.
Hold on. I didn't see it.
What did he do? I didn't see it.
Okay, hold on.
Boom. He ended up following 77. 77, listen.
Yeah.
I'm about to kill him, thinking that he about to just
blow Anthony Hill got to get there.
40-yard game. Well, Anthony Hill's playing the A gap.
Untouched. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
you're
if the
right. So
running
right
back would
now
have cut it back,
he got a bad angle. Yeah, Anthony Hill had a bad angle on that because, like you said, it was like he was already out of the play, right? Because he was going one way and the other, and the running back was going another.
I think on this play, Anthony Hill just maintained gap integrity because the last thing you want to do as a linebacker in this case is gap integrity because the running back, honestly, now granted, when you playing so close with your back to the line you don't have much time to think because you don't want to take a safety. You take a safety in this situation, your ass probably on the bench. So I get what the running back was thinking. I'm just gonna follow 77 right up the A gap right there. He's gonna blow 18 up, and I'm gonna get a big gain. That didn't happen because 44 and 99 closed that A gap with the quickness.
Them two boys balling. Yeah. Look, yeah.
But if the running back would have hit the A gap on the opposite side,
Hill would have torn
Anthony
him up.
Hill Jr. was right there.
Yeah.
Right there. So Hill Jr. was right there. That play. So he didn't make the play, but he maintained gap integrity, which was key. 3rd and 9, they're gonna run the ball once again because Ohio State couldn't throw the football worth a damn all. So he's out there, all the way out in the slot.
Yeah.
In coverage. Play action. Go ahead and fast forward a few plays, get us to the 4th quarter. Okay, now this is something you talked about earlier. Are you flying in when we made the Roquan Smith comparison? Well, I made the Roquan Smith comparison, not to say that he's Roquan Smith, but and stop the back a little bit more stout than that.
Yeah.
It's almost as if he does a great job. He does a great job.
Right. He got to
protect that B gap right there.
Blow that hole up. Blow it up, dude. Just go in there. He's strong enough where he gonna win most of the time. You know what I'm saying? In that situation.
Now, granted, he do have a tackle on him right there.
Yep.
And he still made the play, so I'm kind of nitpicking. But he said for like another 2 yards.
Couple yards, Yep. He got good leverage. He does, but he got to learn how to use it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's strong enough to be able to take on linemen. But I think that's going to be his biggest adjustment. Well, I do. I think just looking at him in these handful of plays, I didn't see where he was at on that. Was that pass coverage? Was he? Yeah, they stopped him on there. That was 3rd down, I think, right? I think they stopped him on that play. Okay. Yeah, I see, right? Okay, I see him.
Ohio State really wasn't either in this game as far as they run. I mean, at the end of the day, Texas just stuffed out the entire offensive output, but Ohio State still, which was crazy. Ethan Burke.
Yeah, Ethan Burke, really like him, man. Yeah, 91. I mean, you got somebody on my radar. And a couple of these guys was real interesting, you know, moving forward in the draft process. Number 44, which is Travis Shaw from Greensboro, North Carolina, 6'5", 342. Played in that middle of that defense along with Ethan Burke. And then you got, I'm trying to find out who's 99. I think that's Cole Brevard at 99. Yeah, Cole Brevard is also a senior on that D line.
Now, this touchdown got nothing to do with him. But that has more to do with, let me see what happened with the safety player.
Yeah, one they didn't was playing single high safety, but see, that's what when you seduce yourself. See, look, wasn't that single high safety, right? Wasn't that single high safety? Oh man, see, they put my man in a you put your guys in the back. I hate playing that because The Lions played that a lot. Remember the game we went to, Walt, just backtracking? Remember when they played Seattle and they put Brandon Joseph, the Lions had him, Aaron Glenn exclusively had him playing single high safety. You know what I'm saying? And I think you really got to trust your defensive line, your front seven, and when you do that, and they got caught up because they had a good game.
I'll say this
before that.
I will say this though. Well, I will say this though. He's playing. Look at the 2-by-1 formation. Whatever side of the formation Jeremiah Smith is kind of lean his cover. So you got Carnell Tate at the bottom with one. My corner to kind of not necessarily handle Carnell Tate because Tate is a hell of a player. But I gotta help over the top at the top of the screen with Jeremiah Smith. I gotta make sure Jeremiah Smith don't get the 45-yard touchdown. So I left you in man-on-man coverage. He beat you off the get-go. Now we just talking about the corner at the bottom of the screen. The safety's paying attention to Jeremiah Smith.
Yes.
Still paying attention. Jeremiah to run that post right there. Meanwhile, Carnell Tate is straight fade.
Beat his man by a couple yards, dude. It wasn't even close. The
safety so focused on Jeremiah, even though Jeremiah Smith got his corner cooked too. Look at that.
Yeah.
So that's not really he did what he. If I was safety in that situation, I mean wherever Jeremiah Smith is.
Yeah.
And corner just got beat on the other side. It happens.
Yeah. Wow. See, and I think that Ohio State, that's good game planning because I'm sure they're watching the film and they seeing like these guys playing single high safety. Let's put Sayin in a shotgun situation where he could get the ball out quicker, you know what I'm saying, cleaner. And that's what happened, man. And I think and Texas played a great defensive game, like you said, until that point. So I think that they was kind of, like they not going to throw it on us, that type of thing, because our defensive line is winning the battle up front, in some key areas. So, yeah, man, that's good game plan on both. It was good game planning for Texas all the way up until that play happened. Then it was like, damn, you know what I mean? And that's how Ohio State wound up winning the game, to me.
Boy, Ohio State spent some time in their own territory. It was crazy in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once again, keep contained.
Yeah.
Allow your linebackers on the other side to handle their business and do their job. Don't go blowing gap integrity. Get out there. All right, now okay, so he's diagnosed. He sees the screen coming. Okay, yeah, well, Sion also didn't sell nothing else. His head, he's really good at following the quarterback also. They said because Julian Sion did nothing on this play to let Anthony Hill Jr. know that he's not going to the running back. And how many screens did they throw this game? So they kind of made it easier for Hill Jr. and the linebacking core to go ahead and play that.
Yeah.
Please, I mean, there's nothing there. Like, they did a great job linebacking core wise of swarming. The safeties as well, who did play close to the line of scrimmage. Chase the screen. Even though you don't get there, chase the screen.
Yeah.
Did a good job of coming off that block and tackle. 3rd and 15, 4 wide, H-back draw likely, run alert. Make the play. Like, that's how bad in that Ohio State's offense was all game.
Yeah, it was.
But to that contrast of that, Texas offense couldn't score worth a damn neither. You could tell by the score.
Yeah. 14 is up. Yeah.
Look at this. Great job. Great job of maintaining gap integrity, not getting blown out. Linebackers clean up. Number 18 been all over the place too.
Yeah, that's what I said. LaFoe. Yeah, he's senior linebacker. Well, I did want to say, who did play good? Like I was looking at Ohio State's offensive line, and just what Luke Montgomery Walt is 51, junior, 6'5", 312 from Findlay, Ohio, and then you got Austin Schriefeld, which I think is probably going to be a top first round. I'll just say first round pick right now. 6'5", 325. He's number 67. So those two guys are really good players. The tight end, I wasn't familiar with. I had to look him up. Christian Bennett was the senior tight end for Ohio State. Seemed like he had the assignment of kind of handling Anthony Hill in this game, and he's a senior too as well. While 6'6", 250. Bennett Christian. Like I said, I didn't know nothing about him, but he played well in this game for Ohio State.
All right. Yeah, he did. He'd also. So this is last handful of plays we're gonna take a look at, because this is him with a sack opportunity. He was left one-on-one with a running back. In this situation, man, I expect you to completely disregard the running back.
Yeah.
Now his homeboy came in and cleaned up. Came in and cleaned up completely. But you're gonna get him right there, pretty much the 6 technique, solid twitch, initial burst. But once you get you're there right now with the running back. I need you to get the running back out of the play. Don't stand there and play with this running back. And this is the running back
just
kind of turns him inside. Turns him inside. Still, then you still playing with the running back. Now the quarterback saying he's gotten rid of the football. I don't know what the hell 61 doing to that Texas player. He killed him. He right on the ground. But not only do you play with the running back, you allow the running back to occupy you. Yeah, you allow the running back to occupy you long enough.
Yeah.
Now that could be hands to the face on Anthony. Occupy you long enough for the quarterback to get rid of the football. That was your sack opportunity right there. I'm gonna go to this one more time, man. He there.
Yeah. I love the explosion, man. He got a powerful explosion, One
more time, because this was his final play of the game. Came down to him maybe making a play. He did not make it.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. As far as
all right, so oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, just as a whole, looking at Anthony Hill as a player, obviously, what's up, Brent? It's almost like, you could point out that's what film study's about. That's what these guys sit in meetings for hours, in the NFL watching film to improve on these things. And I think that Anthony Hill by far is a first round prospect. You know what I'm saying? We know this kid's going to be within the top half of the first round of draft, depending on who's going to take him. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what it comes down to. I mentioned a lot of teams are ahead of the Lions in the first round, because if we pick in the middle portion of the first round, you figure the Vegas Raiders, the Cardinals, the Tennessee Titans, New Orleans Saints, all of those teams, obviously whoever didn't make the playoff, the Chiefs are there, probably going to be picking before the Lions, in this spot, the Colts. So they're looking at Anthony Hill Jr. just like we are. You know what I'm saying? I really like him as a whole. Before we get out of here, I just want to say my final thoughts on him as a player. Like I said, obviously it's some stuff he needs to work on, but who doesn't at this stage, of career? Being a linebacker is tough, man. It's a tough assignment in the NFL because you're going against more bigger and athletic offensive linemen than you would in college. And then too, the running backs are faster. You know what I'm saying? It's just an adjustment period as a whole. But I think he's got enough physical tools,
The
enough guy.
offensive schemes are more complex too.
Exactly, right. But in turn, like you said, whoever your defensive coordinator is, who's what team are you going to? Your D coordinator, that's his job. That's why he's getting paid the big bucks, to find ways to spring you open and get you open and stuff like that, to make some plays, man. So it is an adjustment, but I do think it is too. What team is he going to go to? I would love for him to be a Detroit Lion. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if Kelvin Shepard's the D coordinator or not, you know what I'm saying? If they get somebody else, which I doubt, I think Kelvin Shepard's probably going to be the D coordinator. I'd be shocked unless somebody comes available that Campbell likes. But I would love him in Detroit, and it's just a matter of how other teams view him. Will it be a situation where the Lions would have to choose between him and the top offensive lineman? You know what I mean? And I've said right now, the way this season ended, I may want to go with the offensive lineman before you choose Anthony Hill Jr. I don't know, man. It's like, that's a tough spot, but I think this draft is intriguing. I think it's linebacker loaded this year. I think offensive line is a good crop of young players, and a defensive end. So if I had to rate them, I would say I think the offensive lineman's first. I think the DN is second, and I think the linebacker crop is third, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And then if it's a good cornerback draft, if you can find somebody with the skill set that you need. So it's a lot of questions of what direction. I'm just talking about the Lions world as a whole, like what direction that they're going to go, but I'd hate to pass on a talent on defense like Anthony Hill Jr. If he's staring us in the face, and then ultimately we pass on him because we need offensive line help, which you can't be mad at that if we took a lineman instead of Anthony Hill Jr. I think that's the $1 million question coming into the draft. Like, who's going to be the guy that the Lions pass on to take, a player that Brad Holmes feels strongly about? Or is Anthony Hill worthy to even trade up to get him? I mean, would you sacrifice a second-round pick to move up and get Anthony Hill? You know what I mean? I don't know if the Lions will want to do that right now because the offensive line's so jacked up right now.
Yeah. The other draft, I think, is going to come down to value. Who's on the board? If you look at this particular draft, even when it comes to it may be, I don't see this as a draft where we're going to get 4 or 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, or even 3 drafted in the top 10. Looking at probably, and that's if Dante Moore comes out, probably just 1 quarterback going in the first round, and that's Fernando Mendoza, which means the domino effect is going to be positional players that we may want are going to get drafted 15 or maybe 14. We may not number rated tackle at 14. Where are we picking right now? If I'm not mistaken, is it 16th or 15th?
I think it's 5th. If I'm not, I thought it was 15 right now as we speak. I know obviously tomorrow it may move up a spot or 2 if we lose, and I think we may stay where we at if we win the game tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the only bearing. But yeah, well, we're gonna be in the middle of the first round, I think, regardless. You know what I'm saying? So
we may not get the number 1 tackle. We may not get the number 1. We may not be able to get the number 1 guard for that matter. We may not be able to get the number 1 corner. We just don't. We have no idea. But I will say this: linebackers a need for this team. Not only just the numbers game, because we talked about it at the beginning of the show. We could lose Alex Anzalone. You and I both agree that Alex is probably gone. Malcolm may not be gone because more than likely they're gonna throw some peanuts at Malcolm. And I think Malcolm likes being here, so they'll be able to get Malcolm Rodriguez to resign at a cheap way. Now, could that shock that he leaves? It's possible. And we talked about Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes really can't stay healthy, and even when Barnes is healthy, you can argue how high his ceiling is, what Jack Campbell is. So if you take an athletic player, a guy that can cover and zone, a guy that's shoots the gap plays to run very well, very smart at reading and diagnosing. And you put that type of football intelligent player right in Campbell, that makes your backing core tremendously. If it came down to picking at 16 and it comes down to Anthony Hill Jr. is there. Now, this is just us talking now. By the time the draft rolls around, Anthony Hill Jr. could be a second-round pick. It could be a bunch of stuff the league don't even like about Anthony Hill Jr. You and I know how that draft goes.
Mhm.
We be thinking these guys are first-round picks, and the league viewed them as mid-seconds or early thirds. But just off what we've seen from Anthony Hill Jr. the last 2 years, do you take him or do you pass on him to draft the third offensive tackle? I really like that much. Or, and I get he doesn't provide a lot of pass rush value, but he's fast. And if he can't do anything at the edge, he brings a ton of speed that we don't have off the edge. Jack is a tremendous player. Jack isn't a speed guy. Jack isn't a tremendous athlete. Jack isn't an edge rusher. That's why you brought, and I'm glad that you brought up Harold Perkins out of LSU. And there is the connection between Kelvin Shepherd and his former school, LSU, and knowing the players back home. Harold Perkins, I think as a true freshman, he had double-digit sacks. He was looking like a guy that now a lot has changed within that scheme defensively at LSU over the past few years. He hasn't been as productive. He was decent this year. But if you're talking about an undersized 6'2", 225, he reminds me a little bit of Deion Jones. Even though Deion Jones, and I get it, Deion Jones also went to LSU. Deion Jones was a fat little linebacker who was a thumper, who could also get after the quarterback a little bit. And I don't want to turn this into a Harold Perkins Jr. video, but Harold Perkins serves a need. Like Harold can blitz the quarterback. He can get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who could you hide his flaws next to Jack Campbell within your defense.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So I just think that, and for people who may watch that video and say, yeah, I didn't see much out of Anthony Hill Jr. Next Anthony Hill Jr. video will be Anthony Hill Jr. versus Oklahoma. And that man damn near won that game himself against Oklahoma. So if you're looking at big play, look for big plays, you're looking at flashy highlights, tune in for Anthony versus Oklahoma in a few weeks when we do that film review. Yeah, we want to get at least 2 film reviews of all of these prospects for you guys, for that matter. So you go into the draft process, the Senior Bowl. What is the other one? It starts with an H.
The Shrine is. It's not the Shrine.
But they got a handful of these bowls for the East-West Shrine. Yep. You got the Hula Bowl also.
Yeah.
So before we get to these bowl games, a lot of people are still focused on the NFL right now. We want to get everybody acquainted with these prospects as possible. You know, and we know a lot of people don't have access to the film. You got access to YouTube highlights, but YouTube highlights don't tell you the full story. It just shows you a bunch of splash plays. And sometimes you can get fooled by splash plays into thinking that a guy is an overall good football player, and sometimes they're not. But Anthony Hill Jr., even outside of the splash play, he's a damn ball player. Now, you can make the argument that, well, look at all the NFL talent he played with in front of him the past 3 years. That's why he's that good. I don't think that's why he's that good. Don't get me wrong, it's a major role in it. Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis said he couldn't be Ray got Tony Siragusa in front of him. And he got Sam Adams in front of him. And he had Jamie Sharper, and he had Peter Bowl next to him. So Ray linebacker, but Davis had great players around him also. So don't view
it's a process of building.
Pass rusher, or edge rusher, all around playmaking line do it. There you want to say before we get out of here?
No, it's just, it's a process. I think all of these players, we're trying to build the best version of the 2026 team, as well as look at all these prospects, but we trying to give, our fan base a general ground zero, like, feel for the draft and to feel for these players, because make no mistake about it, once we get to the offensive linemen, even though you have, 2 guys, 3 guys that we've drafted, and a Miles Frazier and, Christian Mahogany and a Tate Ratledge, you still want to maybe add another offensive lineman, a linebacker's a need, like you said, the linebacker's a need for this team. Like you said, you just mentioned who's going to be here, who's not. And I just think that, a guy like Anthony Hill, if you start with him, to rebuild this defense back up again, that's not a bad way to start. So, yeah, you'll hear more from Anthony Hill. You'll hear more from us about prospects. Like I said, I love the draft process, man, because it really gets you in tune of what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? Nothing surprises us in the draft. I can say the biggest thing I've learned from, covering the draft with you the last 3 years is nothing surprises me, because it's like people that don't know who these players are will say, oh, well, why did they draft this guy? Well, you can see why, you know what I mean? Because we did a lot of film studies on, we did Quinyon Mitchell. I remember we did Manuel Forbes. I remember we did, a bunch of cornerback, Cooper DeJean, guys that, kind of didn't just come on the scene. It was kind of like, no, we knew Cooper DeJean in Iowa was a freak athlete that had a lot of good cover traits and super athletic. We knew Quinyon Mitchell was the best cover corner coming out, but other people were sort of like, where did Quinyon Mitchell come from? It's like, well, we've been trying to tell you, who Quinyon Mitchell was before he got drafted. So it's just the beginning, man. But like I said, only thing I can say is open my eyes up is you brought it up before we went on the air, is Texas got a damn good defensive line to begin with. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have some real trouble, Texas, building that offensive line up next year, because all of them guys are going to be gone, man. From 44 to 91 to 99, all 3 of those guys and Anthony Hill going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I'm excited, man. The draft is back. We here, you know what I'm saying, to do our thing, man. This is what I really growed a lot. I'm like, not that I want the season to be over with fast, but tomorrow's game has no bearing on anything for me. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm going to watch the game and observe like everybody else, but I'm looking forward to draft. You know what I'm saying? When's the combine is in March, right? After all the bowl, obviously, well, you said that already. Like, the bowl games are first, and then the combine as well, and then the draft in April. So we got a good 4 months. Detroit Avenue don't go away when the season's over, man. We go through the whole season. So we already in 26 mode leading up to training camp, basically, from right now to training camp.
Trying to look up the NFL Combine real quick.
Yeah, I think it's usually in March. I think it's always like the 3rd week in March in Indianapolis. Have you ever been to the Combine? Have you ever went like just to check it out? I've never been to Indianapolis. I'd like to go and check it out. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll be a good experience to be firsthand if you're able to even go. I think you can go. You got to have certain credentials, I think, as NFL credentials. I want
to get this year.
Yeah. And the senior, because the Senior Bowl is what is in Mobile, isn't that in Mobile?
Thank everybody. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Mobile, Alabama. I'd rather get to the Senior Bowl than the Combine, honestly. The Senior Bowl is where all the real stars happening.
That's true.
The Combine.
Yeah, the one-on-one. I love the one-on-one videos, man. I love that for the offensive line, defensive line. When we do those, man, it's you know who a guy, remember we did a show on Trevor Penning. Remember Trevor Penning, offensive line? I think he played for the Saints. I remember he was demolishing everybody a couple years ago in those one-on-one videos. And now it's just good to see Trevor Penning starting for the Saints on the offensive line. It's just now that I'm working with you doing this, I notice players, and I'm like, man, did this guy, he didn't work his way up, and now he's starting in the NFL. So it's good to see, man.
Absolutely. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for joining us this Saturday morning. I know 9 o'clock is kind of crazy for a lot of people, but we had to get up bright and early and get you on Saturday mornings. Hopefully for the next X amount of weeks leading up to the NFL draft, we can get you guys film studies every single Saturday morning. Hopefully we will be back next Saturday morning with another linebacker. We'll let you guys know what linebacker that will be within the next couple days. But we will be back because the draft coverage does not stop at Avenue. Make sure you tune in all draft season for all your draft coverage needs, player breakdowns, as well as film exams, because here at Lions Avenue, we believe in presenting you with the information and allowing you to do with it whatever you choose to do. So, again, one pride.